Who knew that a basic kart racing game like Mario Kart could be improved so much? Over the years, many cool gimmicks have been added to the formula. So today in this video, we will rank every single Mario Kart. Obviously, this is my opinion, so you can disagree with me in the comments. Alright, let's get into it. First off is the original Super Mario Kart on the SNES, which I know the technology was new and difficult to use, but it hasn't aged well. It always feels like you're on ice with how slippery it is, and the drifting is basically doing a complete 360. The items only work when they want to, and when they do work, your opponents just casually jump over them and make it impossible to beat in 150cc. Super Mario Kart gets a C tier. Next console is Mario Kart 64, which was certainly an improvement on the original but still has some room for improvement. It is now in 3D, which is nicer and makes it easier to tell where you are going. The drifting has now also been refined, so it actually feels like you are drifting instead of doing a 360. There is a rubber banding issue with the CPUs, but at least they are not impossibly dodging items. There is still only 8 characters though, which sucks. This game is still great but decent, so it will get a B tier. Now we have a major milestone for Mario Kart, the first handheld entry. Mario Kart Super Circuit is a bit of a mixed bag for me. It has many new and favorite tracks, such as Cheeseland, and brings back every single track and cup from the SNES. However, just like the original, it has a massive drifting and moving problem that is even worse than the original. Not to mention how garbage this star ranking system is. You could play absolutely flawlessly, but get 2 stars because you used a red shell. The characters are basically still the same as last time as well. This game isn't very good in my opinion, so I'm gonna be extremely harsh and give it D tier. I know it probably doesn't deserve that, but that is just how I feel. Dashing in is Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube, which is a great entry in the series in my opinion. One obvious creative factor is the fact that now we're racing with 2 characters in a kart, having one player throw items and letting the other one drive. It's genius as it changes up the gameplay where people can now work together if they want to. Another thing I love about Double Dash is the new items, which are very creative for each character. Like Bowser has a big shell, and there's also a big chain chomp you can unleash onto the field. The game also features amazing tracks, such as Yoshi Circuit and Daisy Cruiser. There is many new characters, and there's too much to talk about in this game. 16 tracks sucks, but this game is absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna give it A tier. Now we have my second favorite entry in the series, Mario Kart DS. Mario Kart DS has many lovable things to talk about. First of all, the drifting and movement finally feels like modern Mario Kart. It's just at the perfect level of tight, and you go fast enough where it feels really satisfying. Second of all, the new and returning maps are amazing. For new tracks, we have amazing bangers, such as Waluigi Pinball and Cheep Cheep Beach. And the returning maps are also great as well. If Yoshi Circuit is returning, then I'm happy. Speaking of maps, the map on the bottom screen really helps with dodging items, but it isn't too OP. And then we have Mission Mode, which is a mostly single-player mode where you complete various missions. It is so fun, and I wish they could bring it back in Mario Kart 9, but after they failed to bring it into Wii, I am not so sure. And one last thing is that this has a great multiplayer. Because of the DS's capabilities, you can use Download Play. And Download Play allows you for only one player to have a cartridge, but still play with multiple people. This one is a great entry. I'm gonna give it S tier. Now we have the very successful and nostalgic Mario Kart Wii, which is just as great as its brother on the Nintendo DS. There's 2 things I really want to talk about when it comes to this game. First is the tracks and maps, which there are so many good ones that I don't even have a favorite. Some highlights include Wii Rainbow Road, Mushroom Gorge, and Maple Treehouse. No wonder most of them got an import into the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. Another thing I am pretty sure you are all thinking about is how flexible this game is. I love time-skipping glitches in games, and this game has an amazing speedrunning community, and they are finding all sorts of ways to skip tracks, which amazes me. And for the basic stuff, the items are a bit mixed for me. It has some really good items, such as the Mega Mushroom, but yet again, there are some less favorited ones, such as the Pow Block and the Thundercloud. But it still keeps all the old ones, which still makes this item selection great no matter what. One thing I also really like is the use of the Wii wheel and motion controls. It actually makes it feel feel like you're driving, and when you're playing with friends, it makes it all the more funny and ridiculous. This game is absolutely amazing, so I'll give it S tier. Lucky number 7 is Mario Kart 7 on the Nintendo 3DS, which is the most underrated Mario Kart game in my opinion. Nobody talks about this game and I don't understand why. It introduced many things and ideas that would be used in Mario Kart 8, a much more loved game in the series. It introduced the concept of racing inland, underwater, and in air. It also let you customize your kart, wheels, and glider for the first time, which was important for competitive and new metas. It also has a lot more characters to choose from now as well, compared to the other games. Not to mention, if you're playing it on a 3DS console, the 3D makes it all the more enjoyable. Not to mention, we still have download play from the original Mario Kart DS, and as well, there's new modes for if you're playing on a single player. There's Balloon Battle, there's Coin Rush, and more. This game deserves an A tier. Here's another pretty underrated one that I'm pretty sure most of you haven't heard about. Mario Kart Arcade GP. This one might not be as known as well because as the name implies, this is only in arcades. I tried this one in a main event and I was hooked. This cabinet was made with Namco, so you get to play with Namco characters. So yes, you can play as Pac-Man in a Mario Kart game. And there are a lot of items in this game. And I mean a lot. Over 150. I wish that type of effort was poured into it. So you can definitely say it changes the gameplay a lot. There are only 5 tracks, but I'm pretty sure they were thinking about it and it didn't really matter as you would never really play this game for more than 20 minutes. Plus, because this had local compatibility, you could play with your friends and make custom profile pictures. If you find this one at an arcade, it is a must play. A tier. Next up is Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I'm grouping together as they're mostly the same game. This is the ultimate Mario Kart game in my opinion, and I'm glad many people are being introduced to the series with this game. There are over 40 characters, that gives the game a lot of variety. Speaking of variety, there are over 48 tracks in the game, and the Booster Course Pass adds another 48, totaling to 96 tracks. The items are perfect, and there are so many kart combinations, making new metas what feels like every day. The online is actually good compared to another game. The game is just so satisfying that I could binge it for hours on end. This is the ultimate Mario Kart game, so it gets S tier. Now we have an oddball, Mario Kart Tour. This one was meant for mobile devices, which really sucks because it actually could have been a good Mario Kart game, but it got ruined by transactions, which I'll get to in a second. Mario Kart Tour has plenty of good things about it. It has hundreds of skins and costumes and karts that are all upgradable. There are plenty of tracks based on real-world locations and ones that are brought back every single week. But the problem is that the majority of things in this game are pay to play. There are plenty of loot boxes and passes that by the time you buy them all, you could have bought a Switch and a copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This game is still pretty decent though, so I'll give it B tier. And our final game is yet another oddball, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. This is where you place gates around your home to make a track and drive a kart around your track using the Switch app. The natural problem with this is that if you have a small home, it isn't very practical. You also have to get up and move the gates every single time you want to play a new track. There are technically themes and levels, but those are basically just filters. The problem with this game is that you'll play it for an hour and then never play it again. Technology is still cool, but this game isn't very good, so C tier. And with that, our tier list is done. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it, but it took me forever to make it. So if you could, please subscribe as it would help me a ton. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!